Hi, my dears. It's part four of our series this week. And I'm very excited about today because we were talking about making a difference that you want to make. And this is something that I talk about a lot, especially with those of you that I coach, as I am a progress coach. And so my passion is helping people get what it is that they really want. And this started, of course, all of this Map Your Progressness started in thinking about goals and the goals that we set for ourselves, the things that we go after, and really what those things mean, like the time that we invest in actually pursuing those goals and the energy that we put into it, the intention, the expectation, like all of this stuff around our goals beyond the top layer. That's what I get really excited about and has been sort of the place from which this all has come. So if there's anyone that can let me know if you could hear me, that would be wonderful because we've been having some technical glitches this week. But anyhow, I shall carry forth. So yeah, I wanted to just kind of give a quick context for why we're talking about making a difference in relation to progress and goals. And it's kind of twofold. Part of it is for your benefit as the person who is going after these things. You know, my wish for you is that in whatever goal you set and whatever you apply yourself to, that you are able to have the experience that you most want to have. So pretty much anything that we decide we want, it's because we believe that we're going to feel a certain way if we were to achieve that, or that we get to be the person that we want to be in the world, or we get to do the things that we most want to do. And it's a logic that we operate under that says that if we achieve whatever that goal is, that then we will be able to experience whatever it is we want. And what I've learned in my own life as somebody who is a recovering perfectionist, overachiever, very much into having high standards for myself, I realized after years of pushing myself really hard to always be reaching, always wanting to improve and go after all kinds of goals. And in a number of cases, eventually reaching those goals, that once I would reach them, I would be very disappointed and at times even discouraged that I had gone through so much because I, wanted to have this thing and wanted to feel this way, and it didn't happen. I did everything I was supposed to do. I did all of the steps, and yet it was fleeting, or it wasn't there at all. So when I launched Map Your Progress about a year and a half ago and started providing artwork that would help people track their goals and stay motivated and focus on their next right steps and breaking things down into small pieces and all of that, which is very much about more of the practical, tactical, how to get things done, I found that I couldn't not talk about this part of it. I couldn't get in other words, I couldn't ignore the fact that I would be, selling progress maps and having conversations with people and hearing about what they thought they were going to go after, and then having this sense that even if they were to reach that, that wasn't exactly what the thing was that was most fulfilling for them. So how do you even figure out what's fulfilling for you? That's the obvious question, right? And this was something that I kind of tussled with a little bit and was trying to come up with ways that I could better support you and help you choose goals that would be more fulfilling and satisfying for you. And when a goal is more fulfilling and satisfying to you, when it's exciting to you and you're kind of pulled by it, pulled by a sense of inspiration or enthusiasm or excitement or curiosity, it's a very different experience in the actual pursuit of that progress. When you're being pulled by something that you love, rather than trying to push your way toward something from a place of fear or shoulds, or I know I'm supposed to do this thing, I know I'm supposed to pay off my debt, I know I need to lose weight. When we come from that kind of energy, it often doesn't go well. I mean, not surprisingly, because it's not fun. It's not interesting. It's not exciting. There's nothing really compelling there. It's a matter of wrestling with your willpower and trying to be someone that you're not, which it's just ugh, it's the worst thing. So my wish for you is that you're able to connect to whatever it is that makes you feel most alive and most excited, and whatever thing that you want to give to other people, which ultimately does make a difference in other people's lives. Like, that's the kind of stuff that I would love to support you in finding out for you. And so that's very much in the bucket today of what we're chatting about. So, okay. I am going to tell you about a tool that I created for the purpose of wanting to make it easier to start to hone in on whatever that thing is for you that you really want to give and contribute to the world. So I came up with this series of distinctions, and I call them human light types. And it's based on this belief I have that at our best, as humans, we are able to be sources of light. And when, defining light, that could be a lot of things. It could be creativity, it could be innovation, it could be humor, it could be joy, it could be, musical talent, like it could be anything. But there's some combination based on your skills, your passions, your experience, your weaknesses, your strengths, all of that you are well designed for. And that when you are engaged in whatever that thing is, you feel most alive. You feel most powerful. You literally brighten up, and it's attractive. It's magnetic. It's noticeable. People get excited with you. And I haven't found any better life experience than that, than coming alive and being able to share it with others in a way that is of benefit to them. Because the experience that you get to have from being true to yourself, sharing, giving, whatever that thing is that you love so much, and then to have somebody else on the other end saying, oh my God, yes, I love what you do. Yes, I love who you are. Thank you for being here. I'm so glad that I know you. I'm so glad that I met you. I'm so glad that you're doing what you're doing in the world. To be on the receiving end of that feels amazing. And that is a total game changer. So that's what I want for you. It's like knowing that this thing exists. I can't just keep talking about goals in simplistic terms and about, debt payoff and weight loss, because those are just part of it. It's like symptoms of what's out of balance because we're not in alignment with what it is that we're really here to do. So rather than have you focus just on the practical, tactical of how to pay off debt or lose weight or create new habits or focus on your sobriety, any of the number of very logical, reasonable, adult sounding things, what I really want is to have you use what you love, what lights you up, what makes you come alive as a means to get those other things. So this may sound a little abstract because I haven't gotten into detail yet, but that brings me back to the light types and how do I paint this picture more clearly so that you can start to see yourself in it and see what resonates with you, what feels right to you. The light types came about because a dear friend of mine had asked me who it is that I coach as a progress coach, who is the person that I most want to work with. And it started with me thinking about someone who has experienced a lot of things in their life and really wants to use their life experience in service of others. So taking their own pain, failures, victories, strengths, like all of it, not selectively, but all of the things, and using that in such a way that they could share their story, that they could share the wisdom that they gained, that they could say, hey, this is what I've been through and this is how I did it. And that was something that was super attractive to me because that is my deal. That's when I come alive. And in thinking about that and the kind of person that is able to share their story in that way, I was thinking of my heroes. And of course, my heroes are like Oprah and Brene Brown and Marianne Williamson and Ani DeFranco and all of these incredible women who have been through some shit and have come out the other side and are wanting to use their life and their truth and their story and their vulnerability in such a way that it reaches out to people who are currently going through those tough things and shining a light, basically, that says it's going to be okay. You're not alone. You're not crazy. You're a human being. There are other people who have been through this, and I can show you what I did, or I can show you what I learned. And that dynamic is something that for me is what matters most. And so when I was thinking about like how would I describe people like me who really want to be able to reach others, and the idea that I came up with was a lighthouse. And if you were to imagine a human as a lighthouse and being able to beam their light out to those who are in the dark, who are in the storms, who are being tossed about, and just want somewhere safe to go, just want to be able to move through, a lighthouse is that person who can reach them and say, come this way. So when I was sharing this concept of the lighthouse with my dear friend, she's like, oh, okay. And she got it. And she's like, so what other light types are there? Because, obviously not everybody's a lighthouse. I am a lighthouse. I very much have a lighthouse view of the world. And you can hear and see that in most everything that I do. And so obviously not everybody's like that. And so I kind of took that question and I spent some time marinating and looking at different things. And I came up with 8 more different light types. And I have created a section on mapyourprogress.com where you can look at these different light types. But I just kind of wanted to briefly take you through the remaining 8 in the hopes that in hearing about them, you may start to see yourself, or you may start to recognize other people in your life that you care about, and see how, for each of us, we have our own things that are most important. And it's not that one person is right and the other is wrong. It's just that there's different things that do it for us. Okay. So the next one that I wanted to share about is what I call a floodlight. So a floodlight is somebody who is here to make a big impact. They're about game changing. They're about creating legacy. They want to really shift things in a big way. And if they are not able to do that, it is miserable and it's not fulfilling. And were they to leave the planet without having done something big that impacted the greater community or humanity, it would feel like a life not fully lived. So I was recently chatting with a friend of mine at a holiday party who's a floodlight, and I was asking him like how things are going. He's super smart and capable and builds all kind of cool digital things. And he's doing really great work for a company. And he said, yeah, but I haven't, really done the thing yet that's going to contribute to humanity. And I totally got what he was saying, because for him, that is the measure. That is the thing that makes him come alive. This idea of using his skill set and his mastery of technology and coding and website design to be able to create something that is going to have a huge impact, because that's him. He's a floodlight. Make sense? Okay. So the next one is what I call a campfire. So people who, their form of light is, if you imagine a campfire and kind of the vibe that goes with that, campfires are people who bring others together, particularly diverse types of people. And it oftentimes has a connotation with either the outdoors or a love of the environment or nature, or finding that really important. And if you think about the kind of conversations that happen around campfires, where there's sort of an intimacy or a different context, a quality to the conversation that kind of stops the noise of everyday life and gets to a place of truth and clear communication and intimacy, And that's exactly the kind of vibe that campfires dig. That's what they love to do. They love to bring people together. I have one friend who's a campfire, and she's a professor, and she's an anthropology professor, and that's because she loves different types of cultures and different types of people, and she loves her students coming from all different backgrounds, and she's able to welcome them all and figure out ways to connect with them and show them where they are more alike than different, but still being able to respect and appreciate those differences. So that's classic campfire. Like, that's what lights her up and what is so meaningful for her. The next one is torchlights. And torchlights are all about justice. I think Braveheart. I think of people who are natural leaders, activists, into revolution. They want to stand for people who are vulnerable, who don't have a voice. I mean, they can't imagine just living their life without standing for other people. You can't separate the two. So, and if you're a torchlight and you're not able to be making a difference for those who you feel that you want to protect or support, it's not going to be very fulfilling for you. And there's a real sense of passion and if I don't do it, who will, for torchlights. So that's something that you will see them come through in terms of what they talk about, and they'll usually be very aware of current events and what's going on, and their politics may be progressive, from their perspective. So those are torchlights. Then we have lamp lights. Lamps are probably the most common type of light. I say that simply because I have a quiz on mapyourprogress.com/quiz, where I'll tell you about that more in a second, where I've had people go through and self-identify, what type of lights they are. And based on the results of that, based on the feedback that I've received from so many of you that have taken the quiz, the statistics suggest that most folks are lamp lights. And when I say most, I mean probably somewhere around 35 to 40%. Now, again, that stat is only as helpful as it is in this particular context, but that is to say that for lamp lights, what is most important to them is their people, their family, those who they work with, those in their community, the people within their realm who they feel belong to them, who they come into contact with on a daily basis. Their whole joy of being in the world is to love and support those people and care for them. And, this is where you'll hear stories of like parents who, work multiple jobs just to be able to put their kids into the right school, or to support them in pursuing their dreams, as talents, like stage parents, things like that. It could also be business owners and people who have a strong sense of whomever their team is. They're really nurturing. They're the kind of people that have a strong sense of duty and responsibility. They will show up. And I mean, the world would not function without lamps. For those of us that are different light types and, that are wanting to build things and go out into the world or whatever, like, we couldn't do any of that without having lamps in our life to love and support us. And they feel really fulfilled by that. And so it makes me a little sad when I hear somebody talking about, like, well, but I just want to be a stay-at-home mom. Like, isn't that weird? It's like, no, that's amazing, because that's what makes you feel alive. That's what is most satisfying to you. That's what's most fulfilling for you. That feels like the best use of your time. And we need people like that. So bottom line is, whatever your type is, just embracing it is the best thing that you can do for yourself and for everybody around you. Okay, so the next type is a flashlight. And flashlights are all about adventure. Death, a slow death for a flashlight is this life in a cubicle, or, mundane routine. Like, flashlights are not meant for that. They are here to explore. They're here to go forth. They're here to travel, to, go into dark places. If you think about somebody using a flashlight and the kind of person that, would be into that, think about the kinds of activities that they're doing. And this may even include, military or law enforcement, or these kinds like firefighters, these jobs that are not easy, that not everybody can do, but they have a sense of not just adventure, but almost like I need to go find out what's going on. I need to be there. I need to make a difference. I need to show up. I need to see what I can see and who it could help. Then we have candlelights. Candlelights are artists, the creative people. They're here to be themselves, to shine even on their own, to be able to light other people up and not lose their own vibrancy. They are about self-expression. The whole point of their life is to be brave enough to share their creativity, their self, their true self. They're often very sensitive. And so, what's painful for a candle is feeling like they can't say what's true for them, feeling like they can't fully express. If you imagine other countries in the world where expression is not encouraged, or music is frowned upon, or dance, or theater, or free speech, or this is like the worst thing for a candle, because they're here to be fully themselves and to share that with other people. And that may be on a more intimate scale, in just the people that they know and come in contact with, or it could be something on a much larger scale. Like someone like Adele comes to mind, where she's really just wanting to be who she is and say what's true for her. And just in the expression of that is her shining bright at her best. Okay, so we've got two more. We've got string lights. String lights are all about fun. They're about joy. If you think about occasions where there are string lights, usually it's parties, festivities. It's dressing up the mundane to make it more beautiful and magical. String lights can be misunderstood sometimes because others won't think that they have enough ambition, or that the difference that they want to make isn't grand, which I would disagree with, because when you have a string light in your life, this is somebody that can make even the most ordinary day-to-day grind kind of thing better. They bring joy with them, and they feel most alive when they're able to celebrate everyday life, to laugh, to bring a levity that is so needed in daily life. So they're all about having fun and inviting others to have fun as well, and just enjoy life. And then we've got spotlights. Spotlights are the people who are here to push themselves to their full capability. They are often people who are not necessarily just performers, but they could be like chefs, for example, or athletes, or even in just their particular vocation, they just really want to be the best. And it's not necessarily that they want to be the best because, just for their own reasons, but they really want to do their job extremely well. They want to see how far they can take it. And so they will be gratified by the pursuit of excellence. And you will notice them because they are so committed to becoming incredibly good at whatever it is that they love to do. And they're not going to be satisfied unless they are allowed to continue to pursue that and continue to excel and grow and be seen by the people that are their audience, those that appreciate what it is that they do or are interested in it. So those are the 9 different types that I've shared. And hopefully in listening to these, at least 1 or 2 of them has kind of resonated for you. And maybe in hearing the descriptions, you're thinking too, but like, oh yes, that's totally my mom, or like, that's my best friend, that's my sister. I found it really helpful to keep in mind that we're all different types, and there's, again, and one of the things that kind of gets my hackles up when we talk about purpose in these conversations, and when we get into judgment about other people and what they're doing with their life, like, I don't understand why so and so would quit a perfectly good job and then go try and be an artist. It's a ridiculous idea. Or I don't understand why someone is so focused on their career and they haven't started a family, and how could you not have a family? That's ridiculous. You can start to hear where we have these different perspectives about what is most important in life, or what would be most exciting or meaningful, valuable, whatever. And it makes me nuts when we start to criticize one another for being different, holding a different value and a different viewpoint, because it's so important that we have diversity in terms of the lights that we bring. And our planet very much needs that. Our societies could not function were there not diversity in terms of our strengths and our passions and what we most wanted to contribute. So it can be pretty instinctive, I think, to just assume that other people are like you and value what. But I would love to challenge you to start to consider these different perspectives and be listening for them in the conversations that you're having, or even when you're watching TV, or just kind of like noticing and making a little bit of a game of it. I think it can be really helpful for appreciating who people are and who you are. Because one thing that happens when we are in a position where, let's say, like, I'll use the example of where I was a few years ago, where I was pursuing a path that was not about lighthouse stuff. It was more about kind of lamplight things and spotlight things, a combination of caring for other people and then seeing how well I could do in a particular track that I was on. And so when I started exploring kind of the lighthouse part of myself and was sharing these ideas that I had or things that I wanted to do, and I would share them with people who weren't necessarily lighthousey, they'd be like, "Oh, okay, good for you. Good for you." Like, they wouldn't fully understand it, or they wouldn't understand why it was something that was important to me, why it would be worth pursuing, why I would leave a perfectly good job or setup where I had, consistently good income and was well received for what I was doing. But I felt half dead, and I didn't feel alive. I didn't feel excited about waking up in the morning. And so sometimes, when we have these conversations and you're in this position where you're starting to recognize, okay, I'm successful at my life, so to speak. I'm doing the things that I'm supposed to do, and yet I still don't feel excited about it. I don't feel alive. I don't feel like I'm making a difference. I'm just going through the motions. I'm just showing up and doing a job and, whatever. When you notice that and you start to consider, say, something like the light types, which is just one tool, but whatever tool works for you, and you start to connect that kind of thing is that you want to be doing, when you start to share it, when you start opening those conversations, and it's not somebody who is receptive to that or who can really understand that, then it can be discouraging. And your clever brain, that part of your brain that does not want you to change, that does not want you to grow, that does not want you to be empowered, that just wants you to stay exactly where you are, doing exactly what you're doing and not talk about anything. That part of your brain loves that kind of feedback, because when you're talking about something that you love and other people don't get it, and they have like kind of a lukewarm reception, your clever brain's like, yes, this is evidence that what you're into sucks, or that people don't care about it, or it's not important, or it's weird, or whatever. But your clever brain wants you to be discouraged. So in terms of next right steps, I would love for you to go to mapofprogress.com/quiz, take the quiz. There are 11 questions. And then you'll receive a result that say you might be a flashlight, or whatever the light type is. And what I'd love for you to do at that point is just kind of sit with that and see, like, does this seem like me? Most of the people that I've talked to are like, yeah, actually, that really did resonate. But there's also a link that you can click to take you to the section on mapofprogress.com, which is backslash, wow, I haven't even been drinking today, /lights. And that is the page where you're going to find all 9 light types. So I would love for you to kind of click through and just read through some of the other light types, anything that catches your attention or feels like it might be you. Because I want to make sure that you're connecting to the one that feels most true for you. And it may not be that it's just one light type that you connect to. There may be 2 or 3, which is totally fine. It's not like there's a right or wrong way to do it. It's just that these distinctions, the quiz, the section on the site is really there to help you get more clear on what feels true for you and what pulls at your heart and sounds exciting to you. If you have already taken the quiz, then I would love for you to make sure that you check the other light types if you didn't already do that. If you did, I again would encourage you to look at the other people in your life and what kind of light types they are. Because when we start to be sensitive to other people's purpose and the things that make them come alive, then we're able to be of more support and we're able to better understand them, and things that may have been hurtful, or say somebody's putting a lot of energy into something and you feel like they're not spending time with you or they don't understand it. Some of those things can be easier to understand, and relationships can improve because you're able to see their perspective and understand what drives them. And it can even help things with too, like when you're giving gifts or you're thinking about dates or like experiences that you want to go on. If you love somebody who's a flashlight, like go have an adventure, go to a place that you haven't been. Flashlights hate going to the same places over and over again. If you're like married to a flashlight, please don't go to the same restaurant over and over and over and over again. Which may be something that would be something like a lamp actually finds a lot of comfort from doing the same things and from having a routine. So just having an awareness and sensitivity to each other's differences, I think, can make a significant difference in the quality of your relationships and how you connect with one another. Okay, so I'm just referencing my notes because I have been wanting to give you guys some additional next right steps that you can take with you beyond this conversation, where you can start to take this information and bring it more into your life so that it's of greater use to you. So starting with the quiz, of course, and the results and familiarizing yourself with the different light types, I would love for you then to start to take some steps to support whatever your light type is more so in your life. And it can be something really simple as changing your social media feeds. And so many of us, are on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and all of that. But if you very intentionally start to curate your feed and the things that you're seeing on a daily basis with people or organizations who either are your light type or are aligned with that light type, that can feel really good. I mean, it sounds so simple, but I've actually found that makes a significant difference when I'm tuning into something that has content that is interesting and inspiring, and it causes me to grow and to think of how I might be able to shine brighter, to be a more powerful lighthouse. So don't underestimate the power of inspiration. Highly recommend that you adjust your feeds. And then you can also start to subscribe to people's emails, or maybe there's magazines, there's books you could read, but just looking at how your life is right now and the things that you enjoy doing, starting to look at that from the perspective of your light type and intentionally bringing more of that stuff into your life. I mean, it could even be like the movies that you watch, for example, like any of that stuff that you can customize to your light type and what matters to you is just going to be more supportive and encouraging of that. And it's just going to feel better and better. Okay. So taking that a step further, and that, the topic of this chat is about the difference that you want to make. So when you think about your light type and the kind of things that you most enjoy doing, I want you to think about specifically what scenarios, what situations in your life you feel most alive. Love for you to grab a pen and do some writing and just spend some time with yourself in this. And think about, like, what scenarios in your life do you feel most alive? Where are you? Who are you with? What are you doing? What's happening? What are other people getting from you? Like, what benefits are they receiving? So for me as a lighthouse, when I'll share a story and I'll risk being vulnerable and saying something truthier than people were expecting, and I'll have somebody come up to me and say, God, thank you so much for saying that. I really needed to hear that. Or me too. Like, that stuff just makes my whole life. So thinking about how other people respond to the light that you bring and that you contribute, think about who those people are. What are they into? What kind of characteristics? They may be similar to you, but not necessarily. I want you to use your imagination to start to paint a picture of what it might be like for you to do more things that are aligned with your light, and be thinking about who most wants to receive it. Because regardless of what your light type is, I promise you, there are countless people out there that would love to be in your light, that would love to see you or feel it or just be around it. There's something really enlivening and comforting and yummy about it. So your people are out there, but if you're dimming your light, if you're not connected to your type, if you're not nurturing that and encouraging that part of yourself, it's much harder for you to connect with those people. So when you start getting an idea of who those people are, you can think of them perhaps as your tribe, but the people that you are here to shine for, who in serving, you become brighter, you become stronger, you feel more alive, more on purpose, more excited about being a human being. And you consider who they are, what kind of things they might be doing, then start talking about that. Start having conversations with people that are safer, that you trust, and, let them know about the kind of people that you're interested in meeting. And you would be surprised at how the universe starts to organize, and how, things that you didn't see before become visible. Doors that were not there before become visible and start to open, and random shit starts to happen when you put your attention and intention around being the kind of light in the world that you want to be and connecting with your people. I'd like to take it even a step further than that, beyond the more practical, to what I still actually think of as exceedingly practical, but oftentimes people will regard as a bit woo-woo. So if you're allergic to woo-woo, just stick with me here, because I do think that there's a lot of value in this. And I really do this on a daily basis in my own life, and have found it completely changes everything and makes life so much easier. But in terms of you making the difference that you want to make, you getting to shine bright as the light that you are, and have people who are really excited about that and so grateful that you're in the world. When you think about the visual of your particular light type, so for me as a lighthouse, it's a lighthouse on the edge of a body of water in the dark with a beam going out. And so in the mornings when I wake up, before I get out of bed, I will lay there and have my eyes closed and think about myself. I will visualize myself as having this beam of light, and think about it going out and kind of going around. And I will essentially ask, it doesn't matter what you believe in, if you're spiritual, religious, or not, but just asking for support that is beyond what you know of. Certainly with your intelligence and creativity, you can come up with things on your own, but to be willing to be supported by something more than that regardless of whether or not you can define it or you feel very clear on what that is. It's totally fine. Either way, you asking, you visualizing your light. If you're a flashlight, that beam's coming straight off you. If you're a spotlight, you're lighting things up. If you're a floodlight, candle, think of whatever the light type is, sort of envisioning yourself as that, and your light becoming stronger, your light drawing in your people, and just using that as a meditation, as a prayer, as a mindful exercise, however you want to describe it, can be really, really potent. Because oftentimes, I think as humans, we have our own arrogance that we know the answers, or that we need to do it all on our own, or that certainly something couldn't be, outside of our own view. And I think when we're the kind of like achiever, perfectionistic types, like we can get kind of tunnel vision. And so having an intention, making it practice, it certainly cannot hurt. But I would love for you to experiment with that and see what evidence starts to appear and what kind of things like fall from the sky or that you could never have imagined. It's magical. And I don't even know exactly how all those things work. I just know that when I make a point of spending time focusing on my light, visualizing myself reaching all of the people that I could best serve, all of the people who are having experiences in their life that I have been through, that I could support and guide them with. I want those people to come to me. I want to be connected to them somehow. I want there to be some sort of providence or serendipity or some greater forces that cross our paths. So I ask for that. And it is remarkable how they appear. It's taken me years to wrestle with that, where my logical brain was like, oh, that can't be that easy, or that's ridiculous. And yet, I literally have a list of things that I keep track of that it's like, yep, oh, this random thing happened, this incredible thing happened, this door opens. And with the magic of technology and the internet and social media, we have never been more connected. You are like one hashtag away from connecting with someone who thinks you're amazing. So I would encourage you to embrace the woo-woo, to take these different ideas, to start to play around with them. I'm very much a believer in all of the above. So experiment, try things out, see what works for you. And I'd love to hear from you more about what you think in terms of your light type and how you see that in your world. And there's something that I've been doing for some months now that's probably the most useful thing that I could provide in terms of helping you get clear on your light type and what that might look like in a much more detailed way. And it's something called a spark session. I have been gifting them to members of the Map Your Progress tribe. I will continue to do that only for the next 2 days, actually. It's something that I will no longer do in 2017. But it's a 2-hour experience that I offer where it's not a coaching session, but rather it's a deep listening where I'm really focused on, hearing for you whatever it is that lights you up, that makes you come alive. And it doesn't need to make sense to you. You don't have to know how everything works. You may not even be clear on what that is, but you just feel the sense that you know that there's a difference that you're here to make and you don't feel connected to it. In a spark session, we can connect those dots and we can start to see what for you the next right steps would be. And I can get much more detailed when I have 2 hours to be with you and really hear things. And what's cool about a spark session is that this happened again and again where people will say things like, oh, well, I've never told anybody this. Or, God, I'd never thought about it that way before. Because we have the time and space and quiet for you to really be able to go down into the layers of yourself and start to bring to light the things that you already know that are intrinsic to you. So it's my joy to kind of be a midwife of sorts and be there to help create the space for you to experience that, to know which questions to ask when, and start to draw that out of you so that you can see it for yourself and we can see what next right steps make sense for you. So if that's something that's intriguing to you, I would love for you to apply for a Spark session. As I said, you only have a couple more days to do that before they are no longer available as a gift, but will be part of something called a progress plan, which you can, of course, purchase. But if you are interested in really getting clear on your light and thinking of like all the different ways to be very of how you are crafting your life, then I would love to have you apply. And if you go to mapofprogress.com/spark, you'll see a link to a series of questions where I get to learn more about you. And then we can figure out the details in terms of setting up the sessions. Excuse me. You have 2 days left to apply. However, I'm booked out such that we won't actually do the session until later in January. But would love for you to do that. It's really the most useful thing that I have to offer on this topic. So I'm happy to give you some next right steps and some ideas here in this chat, but would love to be able to help you take that much further. So Spark session, there you go. Tomorrow, we are going to be back at 3 p.m. Pacific, and it'll be the 5 of our 5 series for the week. And what we've been talking about this week has all been about really setting you up to make progress on purpose in 2017 in any time in the future. But since we're here at the end of the year and often in conversation about New Year's resolutions, then I think it's a particularly timely period for us to reflect on what's working, what's not working, what you would like to see happening in this next year. So tomorrow for our 5th chat, what we're going to be talking about is really living a life that matters to you and designing your life in such a way, kind of continuing the conversation on what I was just mentioning in terms of curating your life. But there's so many different like layers and details and ways that you can start to customize and tailor your life to be really true to who you are and to support you and you being at full power and being able to make the difference that you want to make. And, being able to make purpose, from a place of love instead of fear, it's like night and day in terms of life experience. And so we're going to be talking about that tomorrow and what kind of things you can do to start to take some next right steps towards customizing your life so that when you wake up in the morning, you're happy about it and you're excited about things and you don't feel like you're just sort of going through the motions or existing, or you don't feel trapped in your own success. That's something that I think happens a lot where we get good at things. We are rewarded for being a certain kind of person to others, or maybe being in a certain job or having a particular role. And we do it, but inside it feels like it's sucking the life out of us. Okay. So tomorrow we're going to be talking about things like that and how you can craft and design your life so that it's one that matters to you, that you're really excited about. Cool. So I don't know that we have any questions right now, but certainly if you're watching this later, feel free to chime in and I'd be very happy to reply back to those. I always love hearing what you guys have to say. And I will look forward to seeing you tomorrow at 3 o'clock Pacific. All right, dears. Thanks for being with me. Bye.